So the lowermost part, that is the 5 lumbar spinal nerves and 5 sacral and 1 or 2 coccygeal. Means 11 on this side and 11 on this side. So 22 nerves bunch. Looks like the horse of the tail here. So we use the word conus, that is called the chordae point. Then, so where these points are their exit point of the nerves. So here lies the point from where we can demarcate the spinal segment. Okay. As the nerve is obliquely running, but the spinal segment is at upper level. So this level increases as we are going down from thoracic to the lumbar. So that is how we see external features. This is the ventral aspect or anterior surface of the spinal cord. Then on the back, posterior view of the spinal cord. Posteriorly, there is a posterior median sulcus. Underline it. Anteriorly there was fissure, but posteriorly never use the word fissure. It is the posterior median sulcus. So there is a difference between a sulcus and a fissure. Sulcus is just a line. Fissure is a gap. As these two doors, they are not approximated closely. So if there is a small gap is there in the anatomy, what we see? Fissure. That is it. We can see through this small slit-like opening in the door. That is small. That is called the fissure. So in that fissure we can put something. Same here. This fissure contains something, but sulcus is just a line. So that is the difference anteriorly and posteriorly. So similarly, posteriorly there is arising of dorsal ramus of spinal nerve. So anteriorly ventral ramus, which is motor in function. Posteriorly is the sensory and it is the posterior ramus. Both ventral and dorsal, they meet together. And what they form? Which comes out of the intervertebral foramen is the spinal nerve. So posterior is the sensory, anterior component is the motor. Motor means M4M means the ventral ramus will go to some muscle. And posterior sensory as far as, so they come from the skin of the particular area innervated by that cervical segment. So that is demarcated by the dermatomes. You are doing the embryology, you must be knowing what is dermatomes. Mesoderm is 3 types: paraxial, lateral plate mesoderm, so and intermediate mesoderm. So they form the paraxial mesoderm. It has got 3 components: sclerotome, myotome, and dermatome. So they are called the somites, stage of the somite, and these are the dermatomes. They are corresponding to the 31 pairs of the spinal nerve. So you have to in touch with the embryology also while you are doing the neuronode. So now today we have started the neuronode. Under the neuronode we will do each and every part of the nervous tissue or the nervous in the human body. So you have finished with the brain. So we will go into the detail, more extensive part of the brain we will do in the neuroanatomy along with the each and every part of the spinal cord. So that is the ventral and the dorsal view of the spinal cord. Then posteriorly, posterior of the dorsal view, another thing we have to start see is the just lateral to the posterior median sulcus, there is again posterior medial sulcus. This one median, now this is the posterior medial sulcus. and a raised area is present. Both the sides. So this raised area on either side of the posterior median sulcus. So between the posterior median sulcus and posterior medial sulcus, this elevation is called the fasciculus gracilis. Called the fasciculus gracilis. Fasciculus means bundle. Peduncle means bundle. Crus means bundle. So we are using the same words sometime in different areas, but the meaning is the same, that the axons, the numbers of the bundles and bundles of the axons, or the what is called the white matter of the brain. Similarly, so this fasciculus gracilis is present along the entire length of the spinal cord, all of the 45 centimeters. Plus, not even the spinal cord, it is continued on the brain also. We can trace this fasciculus gracilis, that is the elevation on either side of the posterior median sulcus, up to the brain. Which part of the brain? Medulla oblongata, up to the obex. Obex is the dorsal part of the medulla, where above obex is the open part of the medulla, below is the closed part of the medulla, if you remember your brain classes. So above the obex is the open part of the medulla, and below this is the closed part. So here the fasciculus gracilis reaches the closed part of the medulla up to the obex. Then it ends here, and a small potato-like elevation is there. The small potato-like elevation is the grey matter, and that is called the gracile tubercle. This is the gracile tubercle above the gracilis. Then, in the mid-thoracic part, there is another sulcus is there. They are called the posterior lateral sulcus. Posterior lateral sulcus start from the midpoint of the spinal cord, and it is continued up similarly as the fasciculus gracilis. On either side. And this elevation is called the fasciculus cuneatus. Fasciculus cuneatus is the lateral, and fasciculus gracilis is the medial elevation on the posterior aspect of the spinal cord. External feature, we are doing only the external features. The spinal cord is lying in the tray, and we are observing and we are studying all of them. And it also ends into the grey matter tubercle small elevation, that is called the cuneate tubercle. Cuneate tubercle. First class, gracile tubercle. So this is how we see the dorsal or the posterior features of the spinal cord, with fasciculus gracilis and fasciculus cuneatus. Fasciculus gracilis is present along the whole 45 centimeter length. But cuneatus is not, it is only present in the upper part of the spinal cord. Why it is present, we will do in the detail, then you came to know why it is so. So remember, gracilis is the medial and the cuneatus is the lateral. So when you do the next part, after the abdomen, we will do the lower limb, and you will came to know how to remember the gracilis is the medial and the cuneatus is the lateral fasciculus. Gracilis is the medial most muscle of the thigh. So that's how to remember. The medial most is the gracilis, so fasciculus gracilis is the medial bundle, lateral is cuneate. So that is the external features. Like brain, the whole of this spinal cord is also invested into meninges. Same, pia mater, arachnoid and the dura. As brain is protected and covered by 3 coverings, so spinal cord is also. The same meninges which are covering the brain are also continued on the spinal cord as well. So we will start with the first, the thin and the delicate membrane, that is called the pia mater. As you know, pia mater is closely investing the surface of the whole of the brain, and it is adherent to the surface, whether it is gray matter or white matter. Midbrain, pons and medulla, and from the medulla, this pyramid is also continued on the spinal cord as well. And spinal cord ends at the conus medullaris. And what is this vertebral level? That we have to remember, underline it. Lower border of the L1 vertebra. Lower one of the L1 vertebra is the end of the spinal cord. Start is the, again, one, C1, L1. But this is upper border and this is the lower border. Don't confuse and don't mix it. Don't reverse, you get 0 mark. So lower border of the lumbar L1 is the end of the spinal cord. And the pyometer is not ending here. Pyometer is still continued down from the conus medullaris step. But it is a fused pyometer, and this pyometer is 20 centimeter long. From the tip of the conus medullaris, this pyometer which is continued down is called the phylum terminale. Phylum terminale, and it is 20 centimeter long, and it is divided into two parts. One is called the phylum terminale internum. This is 15 centimeter long, and one is called the phylum terminale externum, which is 5 centimeter long. So this 15 centimeter is inside which inside it lies in the sacral canal of the sacrum. Then the last 15 centimeter, 5 centimeter, it comes out to the sacral hiatus. To the sacral hiatus, and below this it is attached to the dorsal surface of the vestigial vertebra, that is the coccyx. So it is attached to the dorsal surface of the coccyx, not on the ventral. Ventral is booked for. What is attached to the ventral surface of the coccyx? I have told you, ganglion lympha. So this is the dorsal surface. Dorsal surface from the spinal cord is continued down and attached to the first piece of the coccyx vertebra. If there are 2 or 3 pieces, it is only attached to the first. So this phylum terminale gives the bony attachment to the spinal cord, and it anchors the spinal cord actually. So it is a fibrous tissue made up of pyometer, and it anchors the spinal cord, and it makes the spinal cord always in a vertical midline position, whether we are stooping forward, the flexion, extension, or any lateral rotation, lateral movement of the spinal or the vertebral column, or just the rotation of the vertebral column in any direction, our spinal cord always remains. So that is the, as somebody has make a nail on a thread to anchor the midline position of the spine. So that is the feature and that is the function of this phylum terminale. Then this phylum terminale is also, this pyometer is also attached with 21 pairs of pyometer extensions which are called tooth-like. They are called the ligamentum denticulatum. Ligamentum denticulatum. This denticulatum word is given because of the tooth-like appearance of the extension of the pyometer. But it is only confined or limited to the upper 21 pairs of the spinal. Underline, only upper 21 pairs. Lower 10 is without this extension. That is the ligamentum denticulatum. So what is this ligamentum denticulatum? Actually, it is the extension of the pia mater. As the pia mater invests whole of the spinal cord, till phylum terminale, as the spinal nerves are coming out from the surface of the spinal cord, and we know surface of the spinal cord is attached with the delicate pia mater. So when the nerve comes out of the spinal cord, then it drags some part of the pia mater along with it for some distance. Up to what? Up to the intervertebral foramen. So through the intervertebral foramen, some of the pia mater is extended along the spinal nerve and giving it some protection. But ultimately, these tooth-like extension of the pia mater of the 21 pairs, ultimately it will end and fuse with the bones of the intervertebral foramen. So, if we remove the spinal nerve, then only we assume pia mater extension upper 21. And we remove the spinal cord, for example, and spinal nerve out of them. So this will be the coating of the or lining of the pia mater of the spinal cord, and this is the extension going for a few distance, 2 centimeter distance with the 21 pairs of spine. See how it looks like? Tooth-like. That's why it's called the ligamentum denticulatum. So it is the lateral extension of the pia mater. So this lateral extension is also fused with the bone, that is the bones forming the intervertebral foramen. And when we articulate two vertebrae, you will see that the intervertebral foramen is actually bounded by the strongest and the thickest part of the vertebra, that is the pedicel. Flower pedicel. Thickest part, cylindrical. Why it is thickest? Strongest? Because it has to protect 31 pairs of spinal nerves. These 31 spinal nerves, they are made for skeletal muscles of the body, voluntary muscles of the body. So that's why it has been given a foolproof jacket, protection by the intervertebral foramen. And secondly, the pia mater is also attached to this intervertebral foramen, the bone circumference of the intervertebral foramen. So it also gives the support to the vertical spinal cord. That's why they are called ligament. And what is the function of ligament? Everywhere, in every joint, to protect the joint. There is no joint, but still the spinal cord is protected. First, it is anchored below by the phylum terminale. Secondly, it is protected or suspended from the lateral part by the pia mater, which is very delicate, but because of the extension attached to the phylum to the intervertebral foramen, it gives the strength and support to the spinal cord, which may gravitate down if there would have been no ligamentum denticulatum. There were chances, but because of these upper 21 supports, the spinal cord within the spinal